back to another slice of the good, the bad, and the orange. I am honored today to have two very esteemed colleagues. First is my firstborn, my number one son,
His only son.
a Marine. Why did you cringe at that?
Yeah, I just,
Don't tell him. Anyhow, he joined us about 2 years ago. Moved down from the Great White North to get into the world of real estate. It's been fun to watch, to say the least. And next to me, in the center, she took that center chair before I even had a chance.
On purpose.
Yes, is Miranda Jenkins. Miranda is probably one of the most brilliant people in the building, with a master's degree in finance only, and a BA in, no, BS.
BS, yeah.
BS
BA and BS?
in business
Oh.
and American history. Now, is that real history or is that the rewritten history?
No, the real history.
Okay, good. All right.
I can actually attest to your intelligence. We did a listing appointment, and you were reading off the statistics from the top of your head, by the way, of like the zip code compared to like the house. The zip code's divide was like really close to where the property line was. And you said something about it's like a 2.5% difference between this zip code and this zip code in this neighborhood, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And wasn't it pi r squared as well?
Oh, yeah,
it was something like that. We
and
came
I
up
was
with
like-
this thing.
I was
It's
like,
like, holy cow.
I can be on this podcast all day if we want to talk about me.
Yeah, no, we will finish. We'll just wrap.
Okay,
this up.
okay.
When I was trying to say, I was like, I gotta step my game up, because
Well, so as we were moving into topics inspired by really two different facets. One is we have our private group moving to Arizona. It's a Facebook group of approaching 17,000 people who ask all sorts of questions when you're from other parts of the country and you don't know what scorpions are, and you don't know what a haboob is, and you don't know what saguaro cactus are. And the other is we get them from clients, that are, have heard the misnomers of living in Arizona. And so, it conjures up all sorts of questions for us to address. And of course, the big deal, the hot button right now is in 2023, we are hosting the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Woohoo! For those of us that live here, it creates traffic and confusion and all sorts of stuff because we've got nearly 120,000 people. At least that's at the last Super Bowl in 2015. There were 120,000 people that visited Arizona for the Super Bowl. But it's proposed to bring in $1.3 billion in revenue, and so that's a good thing. So we'll start with that, and then we're going to head into a little bit about we talked about misnomers, but maybe the diversity of the four quadrants of Arizona as a state. Most people think of it as dry desert with no water. We're parched, crawling in the sand, across the dunes, past the pyramids, but it's really not like that. So, Taylor, what have you learned about the Super Bowl?
I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't really watch a ton of the sports ball, so I did have to do some Googling here.
Sports ball.
Sports ball, yeah, that's what I call it.
Is that like Dodgeball, the movie?
Yeah, it's like an encompassing, all the sports. Doesn't mean I can't play them. I am semi-athletic.
Semi-athletic. There's a whole other.
Yeah, I did. So when it comes to the Super Bowl, especially, there's a lot of activity, like you said. It's a lot of the articles that I looked at is it worth having the Super Bowl in your city? Is it something that we would want? Well, you look at. We're going to edit this, right?
We're not. It's live.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So let's talk about the average ticket price. While you're looking through your Google Notes, average ticket price is almost $7,000. Now, from a
You're taking us to the Super Bowl, right, Jay?
Ooh.
The sales need to pick up a little bit for that, but there's probably a couple of sales that could happen that could maybe make the Super Bowl happen. But the cheapest ticket is $4,400. So you think about it, really the only way most people are going to see the Super Bowl is on television. Go
But that
ahead.
doesn't really stop people from coming down here, right? To experience like the tailgating parties and all the other stuff like that, right? I mean, it's
It's an event.
It's quite an event.
Yeah, the whole week before, we're close to the Scottsdale Airport, where we can watch the King Airs and the Lear jets fly right over our office virtually and land in there and come into golf and party, and maybe people don't even go to the Super Bowl. Or they host them at their second, third, and fourth homes, or they've rented Airbnbs for $10,000 for the weekend and are hosting a party.
Well, I think that brings me to my question that I'd love to get your guys' opinion on, because what if someone's thinking about coming now and buying a property? Can they still capitalize on the Super Bowl in a profitable way, or is it too little, too late?
Oh. Well, I mean, that's very interesting that you would bring that up, right? Because, so for rental properties, right, we're seeing them kind of flatten out what they're going to get per month. But for vacation rentals, with the way the economy is, what do you think with your 60,000 years of real estate experience?
Well, back when
go ahead.
when we unloaded the Ark and played our first two-team sports, because everything came off in twos. I think that seasonal rentals, it's like baseball, spring ball. There are people that own rentals just for spring ball, and it never changes, and there's never enough. So when you have an event that happens every 8 to 10 years, that brings in the kind of people that the Super Bowl does, if you bought a property today and threw it on Airbnb or one of the networks, depending on where it is, so there's some people think my house in Gold Canyon should be able to rent for $10,000 a night for people going to Glendale, which if we had a map we would show you is like this far apart.
Very far.
Very far.
Get your passport out.
But if you were to buy something in that, in the western, West Valley, Surprise, Peoria, Glendale, you'd be able to capitalize on it literally probably a month before the Super Bowl, because there's always the people that wait too long. There's the people that decide at the end to come. There's, people that were too budget conscious and missed out, and so they're always there. So I think there's ample opportunity, but to buy a house just for one event probably isn't exactly ideal. So you'd want to really look at the whole market. So you want to look at how will it rent long term for us, and is it going to be long term? Is it going to be short term all the time, or something we're going to use? So anyhow,
well, I
think,
suppose it would be more location specific too, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to Uber to the Super Bowl game. I mean, I would assume so, right? You're going to have a couple adult beverages pre-game, during the game, and probably after.
a couple, yes.
Yeah.
There's,
More than the legal amount.
in fact, someone just launched a new Cardinal Super Bowl beer, and they're projecting I forgot to write down the number of gallons they project to sell and already are bottling. It's crazy.
Is that
It's
the
a
Four
bus-
Peaks?
The Four Peaks are mountains, aren't they? They're part of
Or is
the
it-
quadrants.
Or isn't
There's
that
a
a
brewery.
brewery?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Well, see, I don't drink, so I wouldn't know that.
Arizona has 75 plus licensed craft breweries, so
That
they'll definitely.
is. Did you just know that off the top of your head, or did you research that?
She's a drinker.
I like some craft beers.
Oh, I do know. I do too.
That's Cliff Clavin knowledge.
That is.
That is
love
totally.
that.
Did you know there's 75 craft brewers here in Arizona?
Trivial Pursuit is one of my favorite games.
I know, it
Sports
scares
and leisure,
me.
not.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Which is why I was nervous about the Super Bowl talking.
Well, I know. It's
So are we really talking about the Super Bowl? I don't know. I think so. A couple of controversies I think we just hit, because we're probably going to move on towards our next topic. But this is the fourth Super Bowl here in the Valley of the Sun. First one was at Tempe Stadium. And then in 2008, we had this brand new Cardinal Stadium in Glendale. And for some, I would call them social discussions, there was a push to remove the Super Bowl from Arizona for 2023, which did not prevail, thank goodness. But maybe some of our more practical leanings on issues in schools and other things will rile up a few people. But it doesn't matter because we're getting the Super Bowl. So other than that, we talked about 4,600 jobs, 120,000 visitors. It's going to be a traffic jam.
Well, and so like the last Super Bowl, I think was projected like $560 million, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely brings in a ton of revenue, and we're gonna look at more this time, I would assume, right?
They're projecting $1.3 billion. I was just up in Minnesota. My brain is froze, and of course, so what did I have to do on the airplane? Study about the Super Bowl, which I too really am not a huge Super Bowl fan.
That's not really our fault, though. So we grew up
with the Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
so kind of watching that was like,
yeah,
it's painful, right?
50 years of
Who are
losing.
those?
They
Yeah,
were
exactly.
purple. They were purple uniforms. I mean, that's about the extent that I know about that. And Randy Moss,
Yeah.
back from when I was a kid.
But
And-
I think the thing about the Super Bowl is everyone's hyped about it, but Arizona brings in a lot of various crowds throughout the year.
Yeah.
You talked about spring training earlier. We have the Barrett-Jackson car auction, lots of equestrian shows, and the Phoenix Open, which is the Waste Management Open now. So year-round, I think, especially in the winter, people are flocking here.
Well, and actually, I'm going to go a little X-Files on you, but did you know actually Arizona is the 7th hottest UFO hotspot state, or UFO sightings? It's 7th highest in the nation.
And
So that brings in people all over the place.
it does bring in,
But
it brings
especially
people from
Which-
other planets. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean...
Potentially.
It really depends.
Potentially.
So actually, this is a fun story. So my wife and I went on a UFO tour in Sedona, which if you aren't from Arizona and you haven't been to Sedona, it's fun for about a day, and I would probably leave after the sun goes down because it gets a little weird. But the UFO tour we did go on, like, we had this lady.
My mother.
Oh yeah, isn't that like a jar? Anyways, so we went on this UFO tour, and this lady that took us with, first, when we went in to get our tickets to go to this thing, she asked if we wanted to get our palms read. So it was like you could get your palms read and a psychic reading, and then also go on a UFO tour. So if you're into that, that's...
And get a tinfoil hat.
No, because then you can't see the aliens. So obviously you don't.
They can read
Come
your
on.
mind if you don't have the hat.
Come on, Miranda. Can't wear the tin.
But as we were driving up this mountain, which is actually kind of scary because you get in the car with this lady you don't know, and she's like talking about like loss of time and how she was abducted by aliens like 6 or 7 times, and it's like, okay, and I'm in this car and we're driving up this mountain all by
This is
ourselves.
why you don't get in cars with strangers.
Oh, right, yeah. So
Did you know she's the #1 realtor in Sedona?
she actually does sell real estate too. That's actually funny. I should have brought that up. She actually does sell real estate too.
Of course.
Yeah, psychic, UFO, aficionado, and
Telepsychic.
yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was worth noting.
Well, that adds to some of the differences in our beautiful state, right?
Yes.
We'll segue into the differentials. Arizona is called the land of contradictions, and I think that starts first of all with its climate. It covers all of the different climate categories all in one state. It's kind of like you get a bundle for the price of the desert.
That's right. I think, I used to live in London, and everyone thought that Arizona was just a vast desert with the Grand Canyon in the middle of it and people riding around on horses. And so what I love to talk about is we have forests and mountains up north with rivers, real rivers, not man-made. And you can even go to the biosphere, which we were talking about, which has a rainforest in it, because of the science project of trying to be self-sustaining for over a decade.
Well, and Arizona is, when you talk about projects, so Biosphere is kind of a unique project. up as you go up the I-17 on your way to Sedona or Flagstaff. You come to Argosanti, which is actually a self-sustaining commune built on business. So there's these little businesses and people, and it's an artist colony, but they have to.
I had a friend that lived there. She became a doctor.
Wow.
A doctor,
Yeah.
a doctor
In
wind
Flagstaff.
chimes.
No.
No, okay,
Doctor.
because they make wind chimes.
Did you also know that we still deliver mail by mule, by pack mule? Yeah.
Where is that?
So this is in the village of Supai, which is at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. In Arizona, they still get their mail by pack mule. Super fun. So if you were like on the edge of like, should I move to like New Mexico or Arizona? That probably was the deciding factor for you.
Should I live in downtown Phoenix or in Supai?
It's
How
Supai,
fast
right.
will I
Well,
get
that's the-
my
yeah, Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Drones.
You can't live in
Drones.
Supai. That's only for tribal members.
Well, they get their mail by mule. So.
Largest stand of ponderosa pines in the world. I mean, who would have thought? If you land at Phoenix Airport in July and it's 117 degrees on the tarmac, you're thinking the needles would just be burnt. But no, we've got it right here in Arizona.
Not to mention, I think, people think of national parks and they think of Utah, which
Yep.
is very close. It's like 7 hours driving to really Zion and some of the other nice national parks, arches. But we have 22 national parks and monuments in Arizona and 35 state and natural areas. So lots of outdoor recreation with, I think, 9 months of great weather.
9 months, and in the 3 months you just go north,
Exactly.
and for the 9 months you go south. And we have wine country, Wilcox, which is actually southern Arizona, and the area around Cottonwood has some of the most finest wines. Isn't it Cottonwood? Amanda knows wine. She's over here shaking her head. They got like a house built on their house that holds wine, I think. But they're connoisseurs of that. It's one of those things where people go, I don't know if I want to move to Arizona because I want the beach or I want this. We're 4 hours to Rocky Point, which is south. It can be right on the ocean. We're 4.5 hours to Vegas. We got skiing at the Snow Bowl in Flagstaff. We've got fishing in the reservoirs as long as they have water in them. And so, that's a detail, but I think it's one of the best kept secrets in a way. We have access to everything. And it's got a great heritage. One of the things I found out is that Arizona actually ceded to the Union, but as originally was part of New Mexico. I didn't even know that was possible. But they were originally part of New Mexico, not Mexico. And after that, Mexico sold the very southern part of Arizona to Arizona itself to complete the state. What else have we got pulled up on interesting facts about Arizona?
It is illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs.
You have
That
a
is an
donkey
absolute-
thing going
You
on.
knew that?
That's twice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our producer here, which is off screen, she looked less than surprised when I said that. So I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is just like,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
haven't lived here that long.
He sits quietly in the corner during the day, and then you get a microphone in front of him, and
What other random donkey fact do you have
I don't-
for our
Donkey!
audience?
Okay, actually, I do have a donkey story. So I used to be a member out at Cowtown Range. So if you guys like to target shoot, that place is the place to be a member. It's
Are
fantastic.
you talking about firearms?
I am absolutely.
Oh, okay, all right.
You should know that though if you're going to move down here.
That's
we,
true.
We like our guns, constitutional carry. But so anyways, you get your own private range when you go out there. 50 by 100 yard like berm. It's fantastic. But one of the rules, one of their few rules, other than like don't do anything stupid, don't shoot the other person, is don't shoot the donkeys. And there are a herd of wild donkeys that will just walk through the range, and it doesn't matter if you're shooting or anything like that. They are not even phased.
They don't care.
And they'll look at you. Remember, we were there
Yeah.
one time in the evening, and we were zeroing in a rifle, and I turned around and looked, and there was a donkey. I don't know.
And it's looking at you going, you can't hit the target to save your life, can you?
Yeah, it was.
It's like, you can't shoot me.
That's my donkey story.
Well, and there's the spotted donkey
Oh.
in Carefree. They serve pizza.
Oh.
Thought you were about to tell us about
follow
a
me.
species.
No.
Yeah, I know. I was like, is that like an endangered one?
Well, it's in the El Pedregal, which is it's the only thing in there, so it's endangered. Anyhow, we digress. 1912, the statehood. Our motto is God enriches, and I think when you start to look at Arizona, if you look beyond all of the desert, the dormant desert, we get a little rain, which we've had some, like a lot, which is good. All of a sudden, everything blooms, and
Beautiful.
the desert turns green, and it's really a beautiful place. What else we got? Let's see.
Phoenix is the hottest city in the U.S.
And also had the Phoenix Lights, which was the most popular UFO sighting of all time. I read the whole thing about that. How long have you lived here, by the way? Yeah. 10 years. Okay.
A mere decade.
They made like a movie about that.
About what about
The Phoenix Lights?
about her moving here?
No.
Well,
We also have a very long hiking trail for those that like hiking. It's called the Arizona Trail.
Oh, yes.
It's 800 miles long, where people go mountain biking, horseback riding, and hiking. I think that's, I've never done that hiking trail, but what I love is most of the year you can go out hiking in the morning or in the afternoon, and it's beautiful.
And you can go just about anywhere. I mean, there are tons of hiking trails. And also, if you are a dog lover and you like to take your dog with you, not all the trails are over the top, difficult. So it's nice because we have a little corgi and we like to take her with us hiking sometimes. So she's got short little legs.
Speaking about Arizona, very dog friendly. So all of us have dogs.
absolutely dog friendly. It's one of the almost every restaurant has puppy patios, and we see them in the grocery stores. We see them literally
They're
everywhere.
not normally allowed in the grocery stores, though.
Well,
Right.
That I didn't know.
Try
I
to
think you just have to walk confidently in there with them.
Yes, you do. You walk in like, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my dog. No one touches you.
Okay, so for the rule followers out there, Home Depot allows your dogs.
Yes, they do.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And some Costco's. It depends on the management.
You know what, Miranda? You need to run with scissors occasionally.
I
Take your dog into a grocery store.
I think
Try
you can
it.
get a service dog patch on Amazon for
I think you can. I think you can. And if you buy it Prime, you'll have
This
it the
is a
next day.
disclosure not to follow their advice on the service animal patches.
Did you know that we have uranium mines here?
I didn't. I did know that we produce 60% of all of the copper, mine all the copper in
We
the
have.
United
We
States.
do have.
But I didn't know we had uranium.
Uranium.
They make bombs with that.
They do. Nuclear reactors.
Ooh.
So we could be self-sustaining with nuclear power by just digging up our uranium.
So we don't actually mine it, but we have it.
No, there's mines, uranium mines.
Oh, okay.
Northeast Arizona.
Hmm.
I will never look at Arizona the same again after this episode. I have got, between Wikipedia, which is 100% accurate,
All the time.
and
Yeah.
all the other sources on the Google machine, I just feel like my brain is full.
Also, though, fun super fact has been talking a lot about space. In 1930.
I think you have been.
Yeah,
talking
well, I
about
have. Did I say
this.
we? I mean, it's a joint podcast.
He's
so-
having a conversation with himself.
Yeah, kind of. We also, so the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff observed Pluto.
Oh, wow.
So, like, they're the first ones.
So
in
it
1930.
was aimed at Disneyland?
Oh, no.
Ba-dum-bum. Where's our sound
So,
effects?
do
we have
play
one?
us out? Is that the end of the podcast?
No, that's not the podcast.
You thought that Pluto joke that just tanked us?
Yeah,
That
it did.
was that
I think actually me talking about the Super Bowl is probably what
You
tanked
know,
us.
the thing about Pluto, the problem with that is it's no longer a designated planet because it's
Oh.
all ice. So,
Did you learn that with your
In-
master's degree?
not in finance, but I did learn that through school.
It's a Kuiper Belt object.
So,
Wow.
Ooh.
Very interesting.
That is actually very interesting.
How do we know it's all ice?
that
Science.
is a great question. I'm not qualified to answer that.
And in real estate, we look at our specialties. We're not qualified to do everything. And so in our brokerage, we believe in everything is vertical. We've all got our expertise. So just like not knowing that Pluto is ice or not because we're not qualified, I'm not qualified to show equestrian property, but we have people that are. So anyhow, I think that was a great way of pointing that out, that strength out about our brokerage, talking about Pluto.
That's right. It's true though. That's why we have a great team together to work together.
A couple things about anyone else got anything about any other tidbits about Arizona that you love?
Well, this is actually one of the things I love. Everyone knows the saguaro cactus, right? They might not know the name, but when you think of a cactus, you almost immediately look at
Yeah, the Looney Tunes back when we had good cartoons. I mean, they had saguaro cactus.
Exactly, and it's only located in the Arizona Sonora Desert. That's where it's found. I mean, people can transplant it, but it's only originated from here, and you can only find them here.
Can you really transplant them though? Because okay, so Dad and I had a client who she bought a lot and had a couple saguaro cactuses on it, and I actually found out what the cost was to move some of them on the low end. It was like $10,000 or something like that. Is that right?
It's not cheap to move them. They're very sensitive and they're climate sensitive, and they don't, their root system when they first start is not very deep. So, we had our resident landscape architect at the Pinnacle Peak Luxury Tour will tell us everything we want to know about moving saguaro cactus, but they're protected and they're very expensive, and I think they're wonderful to have.
Yeah, I love them, and they bloom. They have these beautiful white flowers.
And they get fruit on the top. If the birds don't get it first, you can knock it off. And they actually make saguaro fruit jelly or jam, and it's really, really sweet, a little bit like strawberries.
Are you sure that's not the prickly pear?
So I've had
No.
prickly pear. I've
No.
never had the saguaro cactus.
Wow.
I actually went on one of those Jeep tours a long time ago, and the
The
guy,
pink ones?
yeah, no, this was not. It was one here where they grabbed the old Chevy Blazers that there's no springs left in them, and the guy knocked some fruit down, had us taste it. It was pretty remarkable.
Huh.
The desert provides all the time. It's just you got to know where to look for it. So if you're stranded out in the desert, eat a cactus.
Well, hold on. He is not a qualified desert survival specialist, though, too.
So there's giving us the hook. That means we've rambled on. Quick note about the market, if you'd like to know. Just so you know, we've been continuing to flatten out. And as our experts said, it was like a parachute came out about 100 feet before we splattered into the ground, and we glided into a normal market. And really the best time to be in real estate is in a normal market. It's when buyers can take the time to make decisions, sellers can find a place to move to, and so no one is doing real estate in a panic. And that's why we are here, to provide exceptional guidance. Well, I'd like to say this has been the most fun I've had in a podcast in 3 episodes. So,
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
It was the donkeys and
It
UFOs,
is
right?
leave it to.
I'm kind of hoping
I am-
that this one gets like. the
I am
most
so
views.
proud.
Are
I
you?
can't even explain to you where I'm at on UFOs and donkeys. But anyhow, until next week on The Good, the Bad, and the Orange, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for watching.